In all the RX 150 stuff.
Because you're always in the lead.
No, because I'll just rubbish at it, Hal. I'm not even going to make an excuse. In the few times I've been out in rallycross, actually probably, I'm trying to think. Yeah, RX 150s as a general rule, it's just there's a lot going on. And I come from the rally side, and when you go into rallycross, you started in rallycross, didn't you? And when you come from the rally side and you used to be in completely on your own, turn one's a bit exciting, to be honest. Listen to the noise off the line. Rotary engines, all sorts of turbocharged madness going on out there. It's Tiger into the lead. What was it, 550 horsepower, I believe you said, Hal, but rotary and turbocharged, was it?
Yeah, rotary turbocharged, 13B rotary engine for those that know about Wankel engines.
There's got to be an article you want to write about that one, hasn't there, mate? I'm sure he won't mind you having a quick spin. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, but we were saying in Q1, it does look like it's got reasonably linear power delivery, but I'm not convinced that he's not flattering the car, because I bet it's quite brutal. Fantastic. I'm going to turn the track noise up on my hands a bit now so I can just listen.
Hal's really enjoying it. Hal's just going to stand quietly for a couple of minutes and enjoy the rotary engine noise while I try and give you any idea of what's going on. So if you missed Q1, and we know some of you did due to technical issues, but if you missed Q1, this is a new class for Nordic Rallycross called Open Two-Wheel Drive. And now Nordic, particularly the Nordic countries, have had a strong contingent of touring cars, which used to be an FIA class, which was 2-litre rear-wheel drive. These guys, the rules here are a bit different with regard to what axle is driven and what the engines are. So
in Scandinavia, they've had touring car, but they've also had Super National, which is a much broader umbrella for basically doing what you want, two-wheel drive, but can be front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, turbocharged, supercharged. There's all sorts of different classes that these cars fit into. What the Nordic Championship have done for this year is to have an open two-wheel drive, so there's no subcategory, it's just two-wheel drive, broadly as you want it to be. There's things about engine location and stuff having to be as it was in the standard body shell, but it's pretty open. You see all sorts of wonderful variants of professionally built and both home-built creations to find the fastest way around, and I think this is real old school rallycross of people doing home engineering, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Debuted last year, of course, at Nice, when we were there for the final round of rallyx Nordic, kind of as a test category, and now this year permanently with the series. Over the years, when we've been in places like Norway and Sweden for the World Rallycross Championship, we have seen support categories there from Super National, and there are some interesting aerodynamic appendages on some of the cars that we've seen. You see, look at it. Sometimes I think they've chosen the longest chassis ever and then put the biggest possible rear wing they can find on it, but they make it work.
Yeah, I think it's all about finding something that you can make work without needing a
laptop
all out of shape going up the hill.
I know.
For Janssen. Yeah, without needing all of the technology that. Yeah, it's like in the European Championship when Kenneth Hansen and Per Eklund and co were bolting ex-Formula 1 wings onto the back of their supercars because that was the best form of aerodynamics they could find at the time.
Yeah, without necessarily knowing whether it's actually going to do what they want to do. It's like, well, this is from a much higher motorsport, so it must work, as we see Tiger take the win. And it's true, though, isn't it?
It is true, yeah.
And then experimenting with it. You know what, they're still going right through to today. I remember Subaru in ARX coming to Canada, and they'd never done such a long straight as they did at Trois-Rivières, had they? So the following day they went back and tested, and because they didn't have time to make anything, they sawed the middle of the wing out.
Yeah.
And you're like, first of all, I was like, okay, wow, that would have been an amazing carbon fibre rear wing for a Subaru that someone would have absolutely definitely bought. But they were like, no, we need to know whether or not we can get more top speed. Following year, they went back there and were faster than the World RX cars. So it's yeah. Good old rallycross, I love it. Now this is my kind of grid. Porsche 911, did you say on the inside, was it Hal? Porsche 911, Skoda Fabia, Renault Megane, and then a couple of BMWs on the outside. I mean, it is just a proper lineup. Incredible start from Kenneth Kong, but also from Lars England on the inside line. Again, these guys ran in quite damp conditions. Lovely noise from both the Porsche and the BMW at the start. I'm pretty sure Kenneth was there last year, wasn't he, when we were there at Neeson?
He was, yeah. What a fantastic job from... who's in the 911?
No, Lars England.
Lars England. To be that in the middle of the track there and then come back into the apex. Kenneth Kong's absolutely all out of shape. Look at the back of the car. The rear of the car's so soft that the rear's bouncing off the ground as he's going up the straight. He's having a whale of a time, isn't it? In there, but
I love it. I just love the bonkersness of the. Yeah, so they straighten up on the exit like, I think I've got an extra 200 horsepower that can go down here. And there he goes. This time he manages to get the power down, while in the background, unfortunately, Lars England is a bit too sideways, collects the Fabia. Oh, round Burtonson goes.
Lucky to get away with that. You could have quite a big accident going over the top of that.
You could, yeah. The Armco there will stop you from going off the side, of course, but that was... look, England's done nothing there on purpose. The Porsche is just a little bit more lively than he was anticipating. This looks like a man who might enter the RGT class of a rally. You know, that was the idea, was to try and get these GT cars into rallying as well, but it's good to see them being used in rallycross.
And it looks bizarre to have a Porsche 911 in rallycross, but it's a car that's steeped in rallycross history, isn't it? The first ever event was won by Vic Elford in the Porsche 911, Lidenhouse 1967.
Which, hadn't he borrowed the car from Porsche UK or something?
Yeah.
Wasn't it a press car or something ridiculous?
Yeah, and went back rather second hand. But
imagine how pleased you'd be if you're the press guy. Where's this car been, sir? Well, I won.
Got some good coverage out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would be also, you know, Matti Alamäki winning the European Championship, Ole Arneson winning European Championships. Alamäki had that monstrous bi-turbo 911. Rolf Nilsson won Rallycross Grand Prix and stuff. It's just like, it's a car that has done a lot, and it is a race-bred competition car, isn't it? Mid-engine, rear-wheel drive. So just being adapted a little bit for Rallycross, it's actually quite competitive.
It's on my list, mate. Would you like one?
Well, the list's too long to make.
What's high up it though? Kenneth Kong into the Joker. I think this is looking like a done deal, seeing as the next car isn't even in the same postcode. That's partly because, of course, we did have a bit of sideways and contact on a previous lap. That does look like it's got enough power, doesn't it?
They've done a lot of work on that car, and I think he's obviously feeling very comfortable in it. Doesn't drive as much as he'd like, because he lives and works away, but I think he's planning to do a lot more this year. It's so soft, isn't it? Doesn't even notice the curb on the inside as he rides up it, partially because the wheel's not even touching the ground.
I was going to say that the front right wheel is literally pouring the air, isn't it? It's it looks great though. Kenneth Kong, the man with the best name in open two-wheel drive rallycross, certainly crosses the line. 2:52, so doesn't beat the time. Remainder of the cars coming round. I think you can hear a significant difference in power output kind of when you get through this field, and I don't know, I'm pretty confident this will be a popular class, and I think we'll see more in it. Think you can win it in a front-wheel drive or not?
Certainly in the British Championship, in the super modified, super national class, there's always been a variable where you always make a better start in a rear-wheel drive car just because of
it sits.
The way that the weight transfer goes onto the rear wheels off the line. But then historically the front-wheel drive cars has often been quick around a lap, so that's made for lots of variables. I think you really want to be in a rear-wheel drive there.
Up next for you, we've got a new category for rallyx Nordic. This is open two-wheel drive, and as we'll explain to you in a moment, just in case you haven't been with us for the rest of the day, there's some pretty wild kit in here. We've got everything from rotary engines through to turbochargers. We've got Porsches through to BMWs. We've got Renaults in here. It's mad. Two-wheel drive, front or rear-wheel drive. As you can see, it's very close at the top of the standings. Equal points between our two qualifiers at the moment, and one of them is going to take that top qualifier spot. It's between Simon Tiger and Matthias Janssen. They are both on 95 qualifying points. They've both got a win and a P2. At the minute it goes the way of Tiger because he won the previous session, so the latest session result is what gives you that. So Tiger and Janssen, the two cars on the inside line next to each other, racing effectively here for the TQ. The others are all 15 points or more behind. So for me, it's a two-car race to see who gets pole. Semi-final one, probably semi-final number two. But on the outside line, Stefan Christensen with an absolutely blinding start. But Tiger then has laid down all of those 550 horsepower, I think it is. from a turbocharged rotary engine to take the whole shot. And in fact, Matthias Jansen has dropped back into P4. Not what he wanted, Hal.
No, but exactly what Tiger needed, isn't it? He just needed a clean start from the inside of the grid as well, which isn't always the case here in Neeson to get out in front from that position. But followed by one of the local drivers now, and he's in clear air.
Tidy job. Listen to the scream of these cars. So we're talking, bear in mind the supercars are 600 horsepower and all-wheel drive. We're talking 550 horsepower rear-wheel drive here on the loose as well. Into the Joker lap early then. So Jansen goes Joker early. Hal, that's really, for me, his only tactic if he wanted to try and make any headway. And Tiger here potentially coming under some pressure from Christensen. So that could slow him up, and that might play back into the hands of Jansen. But I think really maybe one at the start.
Absolutely correct, Andrew. I think the only thing for Jansen to do was to take the Joker, and he was lucky that no one went with him. There's a bit of battling going on up front and between the Mazda and the BMW. Kenneth Kong there in the BMW, and Norman in the RX-8. So that might play into his hand, but really it's not going to affect the fact that Tiger's on his own out front.
Surely not going to have a look at the end of the straight there. I wondered if he was going to. Kenneth Kong was maybe trying to find a way through at the end of the super long straight at Neeson. That would have been brave. Late on the brakes into the right-hander for Norman, and unfortunately a stall.
Now that's something that could help Jansen if there's a car on the exit of the Joker lap when Tiger takes his Joker late in the race. We saw that in the final round of the RX2 here, or the Lights and RX2 doubleheader here last year, where there was a car
parked on the entry.
Just after Jansen was parked on the entry, and
who was it that made the epic entry to it around it, like fully brave?
Yeah, it was there on the last lap of the final, wasn't it? And
I've no idea.
Henrik Krogstad.
Yes,
Henrik Krogstad driving for Yellow Squad, and it was right here where Tiger is now, and it was a thread in the eye of the needle to get it through.
So is the car still on the exit or not? Let's have a look and see. Yes, it is gone. So there we go. Tiger coming through. Managed to beat Jansen. Jansen coming through the merge now, going to run Christensen wide. Nicely done by Jansen again, just keeping the car.
He's done everything right there, hasn't he? It's just not quite enough because Tiger's been that little bit quicker. But
we'd have made a race of that if he hadn't lost out at the start. Unfortunately, with the two cars in between for the first lap, and it was just a little bit too much to make that gap back. So it's a shame. But having said that, Hal, I think we're going to see them potentially in separate semi-finals, and they should come together again, hopefully on the front row of the final. We might have a bit of a scrap on our hands.
Can't wait.
Yeah, me too. There we go then. Win goes to Tiger from Jansen, Christensen, Kenneth Kong, and here comes Norman now. Another rotary engine screaming it on the way round. Listen to this. It does sound good, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Another look at the start, off the line. Look at Christensen, just got it hooked up so nicely, but Tiger somehow with the extra power and actually beautifully set up the BMW into the left-hander. That was tidy, wasn't it?
I was just going to say, that car, despite the fact it's a turbocharged rotary 550 brake horsepower rear-wheel drive monster, it does look quite drivable, doesn't it? Maybe, like I said earlier, maybe he's flattering it, but it doesn't look wildly out of shape. Kenneth Kong's version of BMW, on the other hand, it looks all over the shop.
Either way, both of them got about enough for us to launch the Starship Enterprise, so there's more than needed for a rear-wheel drive rallycross car. So yeah, there we go, good stuff. We got another race to come from Open two-wheel drive. These guys, as I say, I think, let me see, Michael Persson actually is in P3, but can't beat those guys that are ahead. So